Hi, it's the M.L.M for the Soul channel, and I do have a new topic for today. Before I begin, I would just like to say, may the words and expressions of my mouth and the thoughts and meditations of my heart find favor and acceptance before you, Hashem. And some people I thank every time I do these videos who've inspired me, and I hope they can inspire you as well. They are Rabbi Shalom Arush, Rabbi Lazer Brody, Rabbi Yosef Mizrahi, Rabbi Eli Mansour, Rabbi Alona Nava, Rav Daniel Asor, Rav Yuval Ovadia, Nisan Baruch Black, David Sachs, and Rabbi Michael Skobach, Jews for Judaism. So again, we are going to be looking at this wonderful book called Lilmod Lilmod from the Teaching of the Sages on the weekly Parasha. And this is in relation to a Parasha we had just read, Parashat Re'eh in Sefer Devarim. And the title is called The Blessing or the Curse, which is actually listed here. And we'll also have a link to this below so you can check it out too if you'd like to see if you can find this Sefer. And the second part will be called Intentions. So there's two different topics I'll be talking about. So in this Parasha is when Moshe talks to Bnei Israel about that they could choose between Hashem's blessing if they observe His commandments or His curse for rejecting them. So what it says here is, it goes like this: Behold, I set before you, this is in English of course, I set before you this day a blessing and a curse. A blessing if you heed the commandments of Hashem, and the curse if you do not observe His commandments. So Bnei Israel are offered a clear-cut choice, either the blessing or the curse. There's no in-between. Like it says here, there's no compromise, alternatives, it is either one or the other. So you can't be like halfway, that you're either on one side or on the other side. One cannot opt for a half-filled cup of religion. Either one commits himself fully or his commitment is lacking. Based on indecision, one receives either the blessing or the curse. But unfortunately nowadays a lot of people think that you can do some and not all and everything's going to be okay. But that's not what Hashem says in the Torah. The blessing need not be in the form of gold dropping from heaven, nor need the curse be manifested through a supernatural calamity. The happiness that is derived from a good deed or the satisfaction that comes from being unblemished by sin are blessings in and of themselves. So by doing something good, that is a blessing, and by not, just that in and of itself, as it says. Likewise, the feeling of guilt, the pangs of loneliness, the sense of being hated are all the effects of a curse. They are all the results of divine remuneration based on a person's deeds. So everything is measure for measure. And they are well-deserved in one sense or the other. The mechanisms of reward and punishment, of blessings and curses, are often difficult to comprehend. On the surface, it may seem as if many people who do the will of Hashem live their lives in poverty and discomfort, while the reverse seems true of many evildoers. The naked eye, however, generally fails to perceive the truth that lies beyond the surface. This point is illustrated by a parable related by the Chafetz Chaim. So the story goes like this. There was once a well-known man who served as the king's personal advisor on important matters of the kingdom. To the great shock and dismay of the king, this advisor was discovered to be a traitor. And determined to punish this man's treachery in a way that would serve as a lesson to all, the king erected a large glass structure in the center of the capital city to serve as a prison. The traitor would be locked in the structure and would receive no food or drink. Notices were posted throughout the kingdom proclaiming the sentence imposed upon the traitor and inviting all to observe the man's punishment through the glass walls. So the story continues on. I'll paraphrase a little here. So everyone came to see this person who was placed in his jail, and then he ate a good meal before this happened, so he was in good spirits. But as the days wore on, because he lacked nourishment, he was starting to wear him down. And by the end of the 6th day in it, he couldn't even move at all. So what happened? On the 7th day, the crowd watched as he actually bit off his own flesh in order to have something to eat. So at that point, someone came by and did not hear about this at all, what was happening, and it was the 7th day, until the 7th day, and he wanted to see what kind of condition this person was in, but to his great dismay, he saw that the prisoner was chewing on meat, really was his own flesh, and he was thinking, is this the way a man who was sentenced to starve is a traitor to the king? This is how he's living? But he didn't know what was going on. Because he saw them eating meat. So the moral of the story is that reward and punishment are not always apparent to the casual observer. We on this world are often able to perceive only that which is readily visible. But the truth will be revealed to all in the world to come, when the entire panorama of blessing and curses will be clear to everyone. So what you see now, you might think, why are the righteous people suffering? Well, they suffer so that in the next world they get all their reward. There's no more suffering, whereas the people who are not following the commandments, they get their reward here, and in the next world they get nothing, they get only punishment. So that's the difference. But it seems like, why do the good people seem to be, I forget how the expression goes, but, why do the good people suffer and the bad, wicked don't? But really it's not what you think. It's suffering that helps to get rid of your, any kind of blemishes or stains that you have on your neshama, on your soul, so that in the future you won't have to deal with that. So the next part of this is intentions. And this continues kind of in the theme with the curses and blessing. The Torah states that the curse will fall those who do not listen to the commandments of Hashem, but turn aside from that which I have commanded to go after other gods, meaning idol worship. Once again, or other things can also be other gods, not just idols from other things. It could be your idolize a sport player, or idolize a rabbi, or there's many other ways for that to be done. Once again, the Torah appears to contain a redundancy. If one does not listen to Hashem's mitzvahs, does he not automatically turn aside from Hashem's chosen way? Why was the Torah so explicit about the important actions of the miscreants? Again, the extra wording provides a moral lesson. For one to be considered a wrongdoer, you must have actually take action in a negative sense. So he has to do something. It's not the intention of doing it doesn't mean that you've actually gone against Hashem. You have to act. So he must have made the most to turn aside from Hashem's ways and to actively go after forbidden fruits. Merely having sinister intentions is not considered a serious crime, as long as the intentions are not acted upon. So there is a wide gulf between the intention and execution. So if you think about something that isn't good, but you don't execute it, then it doesn't count. Okay? If the individual shows enough self-control, refrain from carrying out his sinful designs, he avoids punishment. On the other hand, if one intends to perform a mitzvah, or it's a good deed, or a commandment, some people say is a mitzvah, he receives credit for this even if he's not able to fulfill his desires. Thus, if someone sincerely plans to give tzedakah, charity, but is unable to do so because of an unexpected loss of money, he's credited with the good deed nevertheless. So there you go. So if you intend to do something good, but for some reason you're not able to do it, then you get credit for it. Whereas if you thought about doing something bad, but you overcome that thinking, it's just a thought right now. It's just, or even if you kind of planned it in your head, but you don't execute it, then it doesn't count. Whereas mitzvah, you might wanted to do something, and like here it said, maybe you didn't have enough money, maybe something happened that you weren't able to do it. So you get credit for that. So that's kind of a nice bonus. So that's some important things to remember, that we have to realize that we're here to do what we're commanded to, and Hashem explicitly states, the blessing will be for doing what I commanded you, whereas the curse is for not. So, and you should choose, of course, who doesn't want the good? No one wants the other side. So, in closing, I just want to say that I hope and pray that we will all do the good and get the blessing from Hashem always in this life and in the world to come, and that we will merit to live and see the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days and the rebuilding of our final everlasting Beis HaMikdash. Amen. And thanks for watching.